The two words that I heard most today from local Democrats were hope and relief. Relief that Donald Trump was no longer in office, hope that Joe Biden would heal and unite the country.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President-elect of the United States, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. and Dr. Jill Biden.
Beyond hope and relief, local Democrats say they have no doubt which issue the Biden administration needs to tackle first.
My number one right now is the pandemic. Having a national response, that's the most pressing, I think, is the pandemic.
I feel a sense of hope that this administration coming in has a plan, that they will accelerate the vaccination process, and that we'll be able to get a handle on this crisis.
What is it at the top of your list that you're hoping to see the Biden administration achieve?
The coronavirus. We have to attack that head on. That should be first and center for the Biden administration, and I know that it is. I know that he's saying he wants to do 100 million over the next 100 days.
I, Kamala Devi Harris, do solemnly swear.
The historic inauguration of America's first woman vice president was an emotional one, says former Guilford County Democratic Chair Nicole Quick. She says she remembers Geraldine Ferraro running for VP back in 1984 on the Democratic ticket with Walter Mondale.
I was so excited to see a woman running, and obviously that didn't turn out how I hoped, but all these years later, gray in my hair now, it's wonderful to finally see a woman break that glass ceiling and be up there on that stage.
The head of Guilford County's Board of Commissioners, Skip Alston, says he hopes the change in Washington will help foster change locally.
I hope that our community here locally will start to heal and not be looking for reasons to divide. And I hope that we will work together. And that's what I want to try to compel my board and the citizens of this county to do. Put aside partisan politics and think about the people that we represent.
The chair of North Carolina Democrats' 6th Congressional District, Dave Wills, says after the pandemic, there's another dangerous issue facing the Biden administration, one that needs quick action.
We have got to fight the dangerous marriage between misinformation and white supremacy and far-right extremism. We have got to tackle that because, as we saw just 2 weeks ago, that is a powder keg ready to blow up.
President Biden's first official act today, signing an executive order dealing with the pandemic, challenging Americans to wear masks for the first 100 days of his administration. He also ordered federal workers to wear masks. In Greensboro, I'm Bill O'Neill, WXII 12 News.
President Joe Biden and Vice President Harris will provide remarks tonight for an Inauguration Day special starting at 8:30 right here on WXII. Tom Hanks will host the primetime event, and several celebrities will join him, including Jon Bon Jovi, the Foo Fighters, and John Legend, as well as Bruce Springsteen. And as another administration is sworn in, another exits. Former President Trump departed the White House this morning. Marine One stopped at Joint Base Andrews, I should say, where he gave a farewell speech to a crowd before leaving for his home in Mar-a-Lago, Florida.
I will always fight for you. I will be watching, I will be listening, and I will tell you that the future of this country has never been better. I wish the new administration great luck and great success.
Trump said that he will be back in some form, but did not provide any other details. We have also learned that he did write a parting Oval Office letter for President Biden. Federal investigators are adamant about tracking down people who they say broke laws when they stormed the U.S. Capitol earlier this month. A triad man became the first in North Carolina to face charges in connection. WXI 12's Leanne Denyer is digging into his past and learning more from investigators.
We're in Pilot Mountain learning more about the Surry County man accused of being a part of the riots in the Capitol back on January 6th. We dug into Christopher Raphael Spencer's history today. The criminal complaint outlines federal charges against Christopher Raphael Spencer. He's facing 3 federal charges for his alleged actions during the January 6 riots in D.C. Documents say someone who knew Spencer turned over videos he posted on Facebook during the ordeal to investigators. Some of those screen grabs included with court documents. Spencer has a Pilot Mountain address. Mayor Evan Cockrum says his alleged actions do not represent this community. Meanwhile, the Stokes County Sheriff's Office says Spencer has a lengthy history with them, with charges from 2005 to 2014, ranging from assault to possession of a firearm by a felon, cruelty to an animal, and probation violations. While his address is listed as being in Pilot Mountain, the police chief says the address is outside city limits. Investigators with the FBI Charlotte Division helped authorities investigate Spencer. Spencer, the first person in North Carolina to face federal charges tied to the breach of the U.S. Capitol. He had his first court appearance Tuesday, was released but ordered to stay away from D.C. and not interfere with any witnesses to the events that occurred on January 6th. Spencer's next court date is scheduled for Monday, January 25th in Pilot Mountain. Leanne Denyer, WXII 12 News.
Thank you, Leanne. And coming up, a new tool being used by Triad schools to make sure buildings are cleaned and sanitized. Plus, the historical significance of the inauguration, how the pandemic and Capitol crisis earlier this month changed the swearing-in process for the next president. Lainey?
We had some strong, gusty winds out there today, keeping things kind of cool, but dry skies continue for now. We do have a chance for rain and snowflakes coming up.
Your WXII 12 forecast is always available on the free WXII 12 app. Stay connected with Chief Meteorologist Lainey Pope on her Facebook page.
Turning now to the very latest on the coronavirus here in North Carolina. Right now, 3,740 people are sick in the hospital. That is the fewest number of patients in the hospital in more than 2 weeks. Another 6,400 people tested positive for the virus since yesterday. Now, as of Monday, almost 12% of tests came back positive. That is more than double the state's target of 5% or less. Well, a new mass COVID-19 vaccination site will open this Sunday at the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds. People who are 65 and older and healthcare workers will be able to make their appointments. The vaccines will be administered at the Education Building. You can book your appointment beginning at the top of the hour right at 5 o'clock. There are 2,700 appointments available at this time. We have information on how to register on our website, WXII12.com. North Carolina's prison system has received about 1,000 doses of Moderna's coronavirus vaccine for inmates and prison staff. An additional 300 doses are expected to arrive later this week. Now, some staff members have already been vaccinated. The limited supply will go to prison healthcare staff giving out shots, staff working with infected inmates, and inmates 75 and older. Prison officials said inmates between the ages of 65 and 74 will be vaccinated next. More than half of Winston-Salem's Forsyth County schools have new cleaning and air filtration systems in place. Well, the process is called bipolar ionization, and all it takes is a little box being installed into the current HVAC systems. It essentially makes it more effective at disinfecting the air and eliminating viruses. The district says equipping elementary schools in the district is first priority, with the goal of installing them by the end of the month. This project costs hundreds of thousands of dollars, coming out of the Capital Project Ordinance and funds from the CARES Act. Forsyth County commissioners also provided some funding to complete the installation process. Turning now to a look at your forecast in the Piedmont Triad. Chief Meteorologist Lainey Pope joining us now. Lainey, I love the sunshine out there, but boy, was it brisk.
Yeah, you know, you look out there and you think, oh, I'm going to step outside. And then you get out there and it's like, oh, my goodness. The wind's so strong out there today, gusting at times 20, 25 miles an hour across the Triad. Higher gusts in the mountains where we had reported gusts close to 50, 60 miles an hour in a couple spots. Take a look at Ennis, where today we did have beautiful blue skies for most of the day. We are going to see a little bit of a transition heading into tomorrow. I do think there's more clouds in the forecast. That is pretty much a guarantee, especially early. And we may see a little bit of patchy precipitation as well. Now, our school day forecast heading into tomorrow does have us waking up with temperatures down pretty close to freezing at 33 in the Piedmont Triad. As we go through the day, we're looking at some sunshine across the area. High temperature tomorrow afternoon that should be a little bit warmer. Now, our temperatures right now at 51 in Greensboro and Winston-Salem, but we are in the 30s right now in Galax at 39 degrees. And check out the winds, where they are blowing out of the west and northwest at about 10 to 15 miles an hour. So yeah, that's a pretty brisk wind. If you're going to be stepping out in it, it makes it pretty uncomfortable. So you look at some of the maximum wind gusts today, where we saw 25, 30 mile per hour wind gusts across the Triad. And as I mentioned, some higher wind gusts reported farther north and west. You were in Boone and Blowing Rock, wind gusts close to 60 miles an hour. Wind gusts around 50 in Jefferson. Banner Elk with a wind gust of 44 miles an hour. Also looking at the evening as seeing a bit of a breeze and chilly temperatures. They'll drop through the 30s and 20s during the evening hours. Because we do have mostly clear skies, you'll have an opportunity to check out a couple of planets in the sky out there tonight. Looking south around nightfall, you'll see Mars and Uranus out there, and it'll be kind of with a crescent moon or almost a quarter moon, because that's what's going to be happening here over the next couple of days with that moon phase. Now, overnight, the temperatures are down below freezing in the foothills and the mountains. If we do see any precipitation, and right now I've got about a 20% chance, it could be a touch wintry, at least initially tomorrow morning, before those temperatures get up above freezing. You can see some of the cloud cover already kind of inching in from the west. We've got our next storm system there with plenty of moisture, but as I've been talking talking about all week, most of that moisture is going to stay to our south. So we will bring in clouds for sure. A little bit of patchy rain is possible across the area. But as for measurable snowfall, we're not looking for a whole lot in our communities in the mountains, west-facing slopes again. And as for rainfall, it could be less than 1/10 of an inch. So just a trace, some spotty light rain or sprinkles in the forecast right now. And that would take place mainly early in the day. Breezy conditions in the afternoon with highs that are in the low 50s. So we've got a high of about 53 tomorrow afternoon in the Piedmont Triad. For the foothills, we also have temperatures that are in the low 50s by late tomorrow with mostly sunny skies and breezy conditions. In the mountains, we have that chance of snow and mix early, then a transition to rain as it warms up with a high of about 40 tomorrow afternoon. Moving forward, we dry out on Friday, we clear out into the weekend, and we are much cooler behind this weather system with highs in the 40s expected Saturday and Sunday.
All right, thank you so much, Lainey. Checking out traffic for you right now. A live look at I-85 at Business 85 in Greensboro shows that sunshine that Lainey was just mentioning. Thankfully, no delays on the roadways. Inauguration Day, something people really want to remember, right? And if you are searching for gear or any memorabilia, remember, if it is too good to be true, it probably is. More tonight on The Warning from the Better Business Bureau. And how companies are incentivizing getting a COVID-19 vaccine. Next.
WXII 12 News is always available on the free WXII 12 app. Stay connected to Talitha Vickers on her Facebook page.
If you're still searching for inauguration gear to celebrate President Joe Biden's swearing in, you'll want to be very careful. That's because the Better Business Bureau says there's a lot of counterfeit merchandise being sold at lower prices. The group has received thousands of complaints regarding misleading social media ads. They recommend purchasing memorabilia on a trusted site like the Presidential Inaugural Committee store. Facebook says that it has removed thousands of accounts and groups linked to QAnon. The platform has come under increased scrutiny after the deadly riots at the Capitol earlier this month. Officials say QAnon, Trump supporters, and other movements were players in the vandalism, theft, and deadly insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. Facebook says that it has removed more than 18,000 profiles, 10,000 groups, and 3,000 pages since August of 2020 for violating its policies. Aldi Supermarket will pay for COVID-19 vaccines for employees and provide paid time off to get the shots. The grocery store chain will offer hourly workers up to 4 hours of paid time off to get the vaccine. That's 2 hours of pay for each dose of the vaccine. The company also says that it will cover the cost of the vaccine. Dollar General, Trader Joe's, and Instacart have made similar moves as well. Still no winner. Can you believe it? The Mega Millions now worth almost $1 billion after no one matched Tuesday's numbers. That means the jackpot is worth $970 million. It is the second largest jackpot in the game's history. The next drawing is set for Friday, but tonight you also have a chance to win big. The Powerball jackpot sits at $730 million.
I'm Matt Pritchard on the National Mall, where a uniquely different Inauguration Day is playing out. Coming up, a look at the definitive events of the day.
I think we've been pretty lucky in the weather department. We have had some gorgeous days, lots of sunshine, some not terribly cold temperatures. It's a bit of a wind out there today. We're going to look ahead at the forecast for the rest of the week and the weekend. If you're headed to the mountains, stick around. I'll be back with that.
You're watching WXII 12 News.
Today's inauguration ceremony was unlike any other in history. A global pandemic and security concerns really limited the usual crowds and also kept law enforcement on high alert. Matt Pritchard is on the National Mall tonight with what he saw as Joe Biden was sworn in as president.
Walking in this morning, the streets were completely deserted except for National Guard troops, many of whom paused to watch Joe Biden take the oath of office. It was a stark reminder of just how different this day was compared to inaugurations of the past. At the Capitol, attendees wore masks and kept their distance, conscious of the deadly pandemic still raging throughout the country, while flags whipped in the wind, replacing the normal throngs of supporters. 25,000 National Guard troops were patrolling the area in and around the National Mall, a security force deemed necessary after the Capitol riots just 2 weeks ago. Now, in his speech, President Biden made note of those differences and called on Americans to rally around a common cause.
This is our historic moment of crisis and challenge, and unity is the path forward.
Today's celebration will continue to be unique as the normal parade down Pennsylvania Avenue is now virtual and the inaugural ball turns into a television special. On the National Mall, I'm Matt Pritchard reporting.
This day means so much to a dynamic leader right here in the Triad. Dr. Virginia Newell, a prominent elected official and mathematician who often tackled problems that no one would face, says that Vice President Kamala Harris is the answer to end the hopes and the dreams that she campaigned for decades ago. When it comes to breaking barriers, Dr. Virginia Newell knows all about it. Now 103 years old, sharp as a tack, she pushed back on issues as the outspoken alderman for the East Ward in Winston-Salem, an advocate for education, and a force in the political arena since she was 20 years old.
Today is such a significant day. What does today mean to you?
Well, it means something that we have aspired to for a long time. And that is to have an African-American woman, particularly in Congress, somewhere close, to have something to say about our destiny. And by golly, we got one.
Seeing Kamala Harris as the Vice President of the United States is the answer to this renowned mathematician's hard work in the early 70s.
Shirley Chisholm was a flourished Black woman that put herself as a candidate for president. And I was one of her co-chairs for North Carolina. And I was excited about that entire thing. For 6 months, Margaret Faulkner and I covered the state. And we were responsible for her being nominated for President of the United States.
Fast forward nearly 50 years, and this inaugural moment for Biden and Harris takes Dr. Newell back to the campaign where she was a trailblazer, side by side with Shirley Chisholm.
Could you share what that was like for you, crisscrossing the state, being on the campaign trail, not knowing what lies ahead, but that was a history-making moment just like today?
You are absolutely right. I was on cloud nine, to be perfectly frank with you. That I was her co-campaign manager. And I'm going to tell you, every time she spoke, and I was there, I had the responsibility of introducing her. And believe me, I was on cloud nine each time I did. I said, I want to introduce to you the next president of the United States. And the person who was running really got nervous about it, because we got a lot of students. The students really followed her.
Although they've never met, Dr. Newell and Vice President Harris are two pearls strung together in sisterhood as members of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority.
Alpha Kappa Alpha women do that. We give service to all mankind. As a student at Atkins, I was a graduate of Atkins, went to Talladega and got a $100 scholarship from Phi Omega Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. We help each other, for we know there's no other like our sisterhood. And so Kamala has been, she's endeared in our hearts. And she will be for life because kids unborn will know her. And she will make a name for herself as she has in the years that she has lived. So we are expecting great things for all people.
So as for this 2021 inauguration, this Davie County native says,
it's refreshing. It is a day for fresh air. It is a day for champagne. It is a day for us to look up. It is a day for us to know that tomorrow will be great. And don't let hope die. Keep pushing.
Leaders across the world are reacting to the swearing in of President Joe Biden. The president of Germany, for example, says that he's relieved Biden is the U.S. president and today is a good day for democracy. He adds, despite internal hostility, America's institutions have proven strong. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson says that he looks forward to working with Biden's administration on shared priorities. President Joe Biden and Vice President Harris will provide remarks tonight during an Inauguration Day special starting at 8:30 right here on WXII. Tom Hanks will host the primetime event, and several celebrities will join him, including Jon Bon Jovi, the Foo Fighters, John Legend, and Bruce Springsteen. In the dark hours of night, before President Joe Biden was inaugurated, former President Donald Trump swiped his pen for a long list of pardons and We also know that among the 73 people who received a presidential pardon, Trump's one-time political strategist, Steve Bannon pleaded not guilty to charges that he scammed people who donated to a We Build the Wall online fundraising campaign. Trump himself and members of his family were not pardoned. Rapper Lil Wayne was also granted a pardon. He had pleaded guilty to possession of a firearm and ammunition by a convicted felon. Turning now to the very latest on the coronavirus here in North Carolina. Right now, 3,740 patients are sick in the hospital. That is the fewest number of patients in the hospital in more than 2 weeks. Another 6,400 people have tested positive for the virus since just yesterday. As of Monday, almost 12% of tests came back positive. That is more than double the state's target of 5% or less. The College Board is eliminating the optional essay and subject test for the SAT. The organization says it's all because of changing needs of students and colleges. The subject test will still be offered for international students in May and June. The SAT essay will be available to take through June, and many students have temporarily dropped requirements for college readiness exams because of the pandemic. A Wisconsin pharmacist accused of intentionally ruining nearly 600 doses of COVID-19 vaccines. We're talking about Stephen Brandenburg made an appearance in court yesterday. Brandenburg is accused of trying to spoil vaccine doses because he didn't believe they were safe. He pleaded not guilty to damaging property, but reports say that he admitted to removing the Moderna vaccines from the freezer on 2 different occasions. And as the vaccine rollout vamps up pretty much across the U.S., only one thing is valuable as the vaccine: the people who administer it. They are equally as valuable for sure. So one hospital in Ohio has turned to retired nurses to help boost up the number of people who can administer the vaccine. Patty Burns, who retired in 2017, is one of a couple dozen retired nurses who is coming on back because they understand the toll of countless hours healthcare workers are now putting onto the job of vaccinating Americans.
I went through AIDS and Ebola and all the other outbreaks we had for years and years and years, and this tops them all. So I know the stress they're under.
Right now, there are about 20 nurses who are out of retirement or reassigned to help out as vaccinations expand. They have a list even longer of those who now are on standby.
I hope your Wednesday is going well. You know, out there today, we had a fair amount of sunshine, so that definitely should put a smile on your face. As you look across Greensboro right now, we still have mainly sunny skies, and we're going to have a clear, cool night. There will be some clouds, though, in our forecast heading into tomorrow. The temperatures right now are comfortable. We've got 51 degrees in Greensboro as well as Winston-Salem. It's colder, though, in the mountains, and that's where our winds have been the strongest today. Right now, winds are blowing out of the west and northwest at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Look at some of the gusts, though, earlier today in Galax, a 43-mile-per-hour wind gust, over 60-mile-per-hour wind gust in Boone, 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts in North Wilkesboro. Thankfully, those gusts have come down and the winds will come down some too. No longer under wind advisory, but we do have some breezy conditions in the forecast, and that's because of a front that is out over the upper Midwest right now, and that's going to be heading our way. So the winds will pick up a little ahead of that front. Clouds will start to trickle in. We'll be pretty clear during the evening hours, but by tomorrow morning, clouds with temperatures that are down pretty close to freezing, if not below, and we have very slight chances for precipitation early tomorrow. Some of that could fall a little wintry. Not real concerned about a lot of problems out there, as it will be light and very spotty.
Thank you, Lainey. Happening now, Archdale police are investigating 2 separate incidents of shots fired within just days of each other. On Sunday night, a home and several vehicles were shot on Carina Circle just before 9:30. A day later, shots were fired into an apartment complex on Terrace Trace Court just before midnight. No one was hurt in either shooting. Police do not believe they are related. An investigation is ongoing. A U.S. soldier, Army soldier for that matter, is now in jail. He's accused of trying to help ISIS plan terror attacks. Prosecutors say 20-year-old Cole Bridges attempted to help plan an attack on the 9/11 memorial and U.S. soldiers in the Middle East. Investigators say Bridges started communicating with undercover FBI employees in October. Bridges now faces charges of attempting to provide material support to ISIS and attempting to murder U.S. military service members. Both carry a sentence of up to 20 years in prison if convicted. Officers with the Minneapolis Police 3rd Precinct are now working out of a building near City Hall. The precinct, as you see here, burned by rioters during the unrest after the death of George Floyd last May. Officers moved to a temporary location, the Minneapolis Convention Center, and now its officers have moved again to what's known as the City of Lakes building, a recently vacated space about a block from City Hall. Checking out traffic for you right now, a live look. High of 52 at 25th Street in Winston-Salem looks really good. Thankfully, no delays on this Wednesday for you. Still ahead, a young author saving lives across the globe. How she's doing it with her own fundraiser. And a dying wish come true, what one couple did to make sure their bride's father got to witness the wedding. One young Maryland author is saving lives halfway around the world, and she's doing it through her own campaign fundraiser, bringing awareness to the need for clean and safe access to water. Amy Lou from our sister station in Baltimore shares her mission and how she's raising money.
Once upon a time, there was a 7-year-old girl named Willa.
She's a third grader who reads effortlessly. Meet 9-year-old Julia Barnes reading to us from her own book.
All 5 girls were in a carriage.
Yes, that's right, her very own book, Willa's Adventures.
It's about a 7-year-old girl named Willa. She's on top of the waterfall. It's about how she becomes like a magical water princess.
Drawing the idea from her own imagination and from a lesson learned as a Girl Scout.
In Africa, there's water, but there's not fresh water. So that's why we people in the USA, in a water-rich country, we want to build wells.
And with a little help from Mom and Dad, Willa's Adventures is here. Self-published, including Julia's artwork, available now on Amazon. The money from each copy sold going to the Water Project, helping build that well in Africa.
It's been really great to see her, accomplish a goal, at such a young age.
And Dad Tom Barnes says the process has been an inspiration for himself.
It's incredible to see her, and yeah, both her mom and I are just so proud that she's felt so strongly about this to actually do something about it.
And don't wait, this young author plans on writing more books and has one last message to offer.
I got the idea for publishing a book because I like to write. And I also like to draw, all to raise money. And the money goes to supporting people. And that's what I love.
I love that too. At just 14 years old, a girl in California is blazing trails in her community. Amanda Vales was awarded the rank of Eagle Scout by the local chapter of Scout BSA. She is the first female to reach the rank of Eagle Scout in her area. This achievement was 2 years in the making. To climb the ranks, get this, Amanda assumed different leadership positions and even spent a night alone in the woods. Amanda followed in the footsteps of her older brother, but she has certainly forged her own path, and she's exceeding so many expectations along the way.
I wanted to prove to him that, and all the people, all the naysayers, that girls can do it. They can do anything that boys can do, and sometimes they can do it better.
You go, Amanda. Amanda now wants to mentor other scouts as a way to give back to the community who helped her to break the mold. Congrats. A woman had her wedding at a hospital, basically had to put it on hold, but she did something unique to make her dad's dream come true. On Christmas Day, Sarah's father, Juan, was admitted to the hospital when he had trouble breathing. Tests revealed he had terminal cancer. His final wish to walk his daughter, Sarah, down the aisle at her wedding in May would not happen. So on Saturday, Sarah got married right there at the hospital, as you can see here. Her wedding gown, a yellow PPE, along with masks and gloves. Friends and family watched the ceremony on Zoom.
Having him there is what mattered to me. As soon as we all said amen, Juan opened his eyes. His eyes got big. He opened his eyes and he's like, wow, Sarah got married.
It's incredible. Sarah and her husband will exchange vows again in the summer in June on her father's birthday. Touching story for sure. Turning now to your forecast.